Plan on flying? In order to board domestic flights, your driver's license or state-issued ID must be a real ID. Learn how to get your real ID today at tsa.gov/realid or visit your local DMV.
'Cause I love you for infinity. I love you for infinity.
Well, thanks for jumping on, Jaymes with a Y, confusing everybody.
That's right, yeah. Hey, blame it on my mama.
Yeah, there you go. Well, nice to meet you. Where in Seattle are you from, by the way?
I'm from the east side of Lake Washington, so suburbs.
Go on. I'm from Auburn, so you can throw it out.
Oh, nice. Like I grew up in Bothell, Woodinville.
Yeah.
Everett, all as well. So.
Up north and stuff. That's cool. Do you get to go back very often?
Yeah. Obviously, COVID made that tougher.
Yeah.
Just with I have grandparents that live at home, and I didn't want to bring the illness into the house, so
Sure.
that made it kind of rough. But yeah, I usually get home pretty often.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if you experienced this because you live in LA now, right?
Yeah, since 2012.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, I came here in 2003, and it was weird. It was like a culture shock coming from Seattle to LA, but it was even more of a culture shock when I went back to visit. It felt really weird.
Right. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it's you realize how different it is more when you go from here to there.
Yeah, you really do.
When you come here, it's kind of yeah, okay, LA. I guess this is what I expected. But how long have you been in LA?
Oh, I got here in 2003, so and I was in Auburn, and when I go back and visit, most of my family lives in Puyallup, and Puyallup is pretty much different from anywhere else on Earth. So
Yeah.
that was it felt like coming here was strange, but going back was like, wow, time is standing still here in Puyallup, and it was really weird. And it was at that moment where I felt like LA was home, finally.
Yeah. You got the Puyallup Fair throwback. Yeah, I feel like I'm from here now, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's still a couple subconscious things, but I do feel like I'm from here now.
Yeah. Are you used to the heat yet, or are you still like me keeping the AC on about 68 at all times?
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like a 71 guy, unless I'm sleeping. I don't know. We all like it. I don't know. I feel like most people like it kind of cold when they sleep.
Right. That's funny that some things we don't just adapt. We refuse to change. You don't still have your 206 phone number, right? You got rid of that long ago.
I still do.
No kidding.
Yeah. Maybe I should get a new one though.
Yeah, you haven't moved until you at least get an 818 or something. I don't know, but no, hang on to that. That's cool. That's.
I also have my Seattle driver's license still.
That seems illegal. Right. Nobody say a word. I'm pretty sure you have 30 days to fix that. It's been 10 years. It's such an interesting story with you, man, because like you said, you got here in 2012. This is you're getting a lot of attention right now. Infinity. I mean, we'll talk about that. That song it blows me away. But this isn't an overnight thing for you, because even people look through iTunes and the iHeart app and stuff. They'll see music going back to 2013. So what's this like getting all this attention right now off of this song, knowing that you've got all that that people need to hear still?
It's interesting. I try to place value on just delivering, art that I feel like is valuable to me before it's valuable to anyone else. Before it has a ethos of opinions and everything. And yeah, I mean, it's weird because it's an older song, and with the way things are happening these days, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you look at the Heat Waves song, it's not like a brand new song.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's really cool that that's happening. But
Wait, how
I am
old
kind
is
of excited
Infinity?
to be like, hey, it's a fun experiment for me, like to know that I have a lot of new music to come out still, and like some older stuff in the catalog,
Yeah.
and I'm really curious to see how that plays out, you know, and it's an adventure. So
How long? Wait, how long is Infinity then? How long has that been out, or how long since you made it? Since
that's
you?
been out since 2017.
No kidding. Yeah, it is really interesting how that happens, isn't it?
And it seems like styles kind of come back around, because if I were to listen to that song a year ago, just like in my headphones, just by myself, whatever, I'd be like, yeah, 2017 kind of makes sense. And now, like, I listen to it through the context of like some kid posting it on TikTok or whatever,
Mm.
and I'm like, oh, I guess I kind of get it. Like now I'm looking at it through like a different lens.
Completely. Yeah. Boy, that is really interesting, and it's interesting to use Heat Waves as an example because I remember hearing that song like a year and a half ago. I think was the first time I heard it. And I'm sure it's even older than that, but and that's on top of the world right now.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Um, since moving here in 2012, obviously you I'm guessing you moved here to up your career and to be in the city where all this stuff happens. Was that the original plan when you first moved here?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I was really sick of Seattle.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I think that I probably wasn't like the personality type to like thrive in that constant, like just gray weather. And I
Mm.
mean, you know, like Seattle has a kind of a negative music scene as well. Like there's a history of kind of just negativity, and I mean, like just take grunge for example. I mean,
Yeah.
some pretty dark music. Um,
Yeah, it seems to be our history is just that, isn't it? It's history. It's early '90s, and that's pretty much all you hear about it now, isn't it?
yeah, and I mean, even when I was a kid playing music, it felt like a little bit of a toxic like scene.
Mm.
You know, like I mean, every place has their positives and negatives, but I mean, yeah, I moved down to Thousand Oaks actually.
Mm.
That was the first place I lived, and I had a buddy of mine who was moving down here, and he was like, "Hey, if you want to, you know, help me record guitars and help me write stuff, you can stay in this room with me that I'm renting. Like we'll bunk up and we'll do the LA thing." And actually, like 3 weeks or a month after we got settled in Thousand Oaks, his younger brother took his own life. So he went back to Seattle for, I mean, you know, 10 months, or I don't remember what it was. And I was kind of like, all right, well, do I stay or go? Like, what should I do? And I knew that he wanted to keep the room that we
Mm.
had too, and wasn't sure. You know, that's a really hard thing. Of course, he doesn't know when he's going to come back. Like,
Sure.
so that was like my intro to LA, just kind of through that experience. And it was like it was a rough time, you know, obviously for him and his family, but just you know, not having anybody down here to like that I knew at all. Um,
It's a heavy
and
feeling, isn't it?
yeah, and living kind of like you know, 45 minutes outside the city.
Right.
So no money, no car, nothing. Like so just getting here and trying to get in the scene and create with other people was tough. So
Yeah.
I'm really extremely grateful for how things have gone.
Especially in a town full of artists. That's got to, you're one of 1,000 needles in the haystack at that point.
Right.
But man,
Only 1,000?
at least, well, right, per square inch, I guess. um, how close did you come to saying, you know what, I'm gonna hit F it, and I'm gonna just forget this and chalk it up as a pipe dream and go back home?
Um, I never like I never said that about music itself,
Yeah.
but LA for sure, multiple times. I feel like I say that once a year about LA. It doesn't matter what my situation is. Like, you know, because crazy shit can happen here. You just never know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, the last 2 years have been pretty wild. Like all
Sure.
the neighborhoods have changed. Like, um, but yeah, I had a lot of friends be like, no, just like stick it out, just like stay down there
Great.
and see where it goes. Just like give it some more time, you know, like tough it out. And so I did, and eventually, when I moved, like my buddy did end up coming back, and we lived in Studio City for a little while.
Perfect area. Yeah.
Um, and then things were at least, you know, sustainable from there. So
Right. Great, man. That's awesome. The man, you've got some interesting thoughts on love, don't you? You have feelings on love. I've read some things that you've talked about, and you know, it seems like you have a special relationship with the concept of love. Or am I just shooting way over?
I mean, I'm a sensitive guy
Yeah.
for sure. I I certainly, you know, grew up like I don't want to say hopeless romantic, but I liked, you know, I like the epic classic tales
Mm.
about love. And you know, when you have your first couple experiences, like those can be like those can feel like so dramatic, I guess. And it's interesting because actually when I first started making music, like when I was a kid, I didn't write any love songs at all. I feel like my first like 20 songs I probably wrote were kind of more meaning of life type stuff, or just like what's like a better word, you know, just curiosity about random aspects of life as opposed to like that obvious
Mm.
choice. And then as I got like older and I was like, oh, like everybody writes love songs, you know,
Yeah.
all my favorite artists have love songs. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
Um,
It's the universal. It's the universal
so
thing,
obviously
isn't
I
it?
jumped on that train. And then when I moved to LA, I was like, what's a pop song? Like, so
A pop song is when you start to. That's what that means. Pop
yeah,
song
yeah.
is what gets on the radio and pays rent.
I had never really like dove into like what a pop song was,
Mm.
and I I mean I don't even know why even call it that at this point. All the lines are blurred, but
Yeah.
uh yeah. So and it's funny because I've actually like in the last 2 or 3 years kind of like rediscovered the kind of more the childhood aspect of writing, which was a bit more, you know, it was just more open. It wasn't like this narrow because people write about relationships so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really relatable and and it's kind of easy if you compare it to writing a song about I don't know, like whether or not God exists or something like that.
Sure.
Um,
When you're a kid, everything is just foreign, isn't it? We don't over.
yeah,
We haven't began to overthink anything yet. We haven't thought about anything. We're just trying to figure it all out. And
yeah,
it's
and I think that's an extremely important aspect of creativity and writing is we lose we get names for everything, right? And we get like slotted into these really stubborn perspectives and habits and ways of thinking. And it honestly, in the last like 2 3 years, I've rediscovered a older artistic part of myself, and I've been like, holy shit, like I gotta tap back into that. That's really important, you
mm,
know, because anybody can write a love song and a great one at that.
yeah.
But when you write a song that's just about something that you just internally resonate with, and if it feels as emotionally powerful as like a love song, then you're onto something more unique about your human experience.
Is that coming across on this song Infinity? And I ask that because it is in a way a love song, but the music is like not your stereotypical backtrack, is it? It's very, it's almost dark, and it's scorish. It's gorgeous, and it's got all these percussive layers and effects that and sounds that don't belong on a love song on paper.
Right. Well, the funny story about that production is I was working with a producer named Billboard, and he was really good at, I mean, I don't even know, I mean, Billboard, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if how much English he spoke back in that when we had that session. So I don't even remember how the communication was, but I remember explaining to him kind of what I wanted, and we cooked up that beat in like an hour.
That
And
quick, huh?
yeah,
Okay.
and later on I did more production to it, but that was a really cool experience. It just kind of like it was like in my head the soundscape, and then it just was what I imagined it to be. So that was cool. And yeah, but I've always been obsessed with the idea of um of time, you know, infinity, like and kind of people living multiple lives.
Hmm.
Um, and to be honest, I don't even know what I believe. I'm kind of open-minded, but um, uh, I kind of I think there's a level of intensity that you can feel for someone that you're like, you know, have I met you in a past life, or will I know you in the next life? And it's kind of like that dark, almost obsessive, possessive nature that the song is kind of embracing. It's like we don't want to let go, you know.
Yeah.
We want control. If we want something to last longer than a human lifespan, you know, because it's like we're scared of losing this control and this feeling.
Wow, it's such an interesting take because that's exactly how it feels. It feels heavy and borderline dangerous, like the you love somebody to the point where it's dangerous, and it's fun. I don't know if it was ever. It's one of these songs that it's like, God, I've heard this song, but I don't think I've heard it placed in where I'm thinking. Like, and I'm thinking, I don't know if you've ever seen that TV show, that Netflix series called You. And that's exactly where I thought of it in my head. And I was like, I have to have heard that in that song. And what you just said makes that total connection to that movie, that show, doesn't it?
That makes sense. And it's
Because
funny. It's a little bit creepy in that. Obviously, I mean the show's creepy too, but yeah, like that makes sense to me. And I try. I mean, I probably wrote it 5 years ago now.
yeah. Wow.
No, more than that.
No, it's 5. It's been 5, right? 17. So
I mean,
almost.
it
Yeah.
came out in 17, but I think I wrote it in like 15.
Oh, right, right.
That's been a minute. Um, and I don't even know what headspace I was in. I can't feel that headspace,
Oh,
but I can at least sort of remember like lyrically what the idea was. Uh, yeah, that makes sense. That's funny. The You show. Let's pitch it. Let's get it on there.
that's good for the next season, man. Because it is that very heavy where that love is just so dangerous. Not to the point we're going to kill somebody like on the show. Spoiler for anybody who's seen it. But it is very it's such a great song. The first time I heard it was this was only a few days ago when I first heard it. Our program director at My FM, I had just gotten off the air and we were just sitting there and he goes, "Hey, listen to this. What do you think of this?" And he played it for me, and for right from the go, from that real echoed vocal, that was it. That was it for me. It was like, let's get this dude on, and it's so different, and it's different than everything else that's on the radio right now. And for it to break through, like you said, 5, 6, 7 years later, wow, it's incredible. And the instruments, the percussion, these EDM leads on the hook that just don't belong there on paper, and it's mindful. It's so confusing to the mind, and then you're like, wait, listen to the lyrics. Hang on, this is about love. Wait a minute, rewind. Let's start this over, and it's very, for lack of a better term, kind of a mind fuck, isn't it?
I hope so.
Yeah, in a way, it really is. Um, so yeah, that was a cool moment when he played that for me. I was like, let's get this guy on. Let's talk about this. And the full album just came out, right? Was that like earlier this month?
We put like a deluxe version of the album out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we threw a new song on there, Nothing Holy, and there had been a couple singles since then. I'm kind of a slow writer. So people are always like waiting on me, and I mean you kind of like hit the nail on the head when you're describing how there's multiple styles in that song, and
Mm.
I I I grew up with so many different types of music. You know, like 1 minute we'd be listening to classical music, like or like opera or like Luciano Pavarotti, and then the next minute we'd be listening to Elliott Smith, and then Tupac, and then Nirvana, and then just whatever Radiohead, and then it just was kind of all over the place. Frank Sinatra, and so that I got that from my mom, and like that never really went away. I mean, there's a couple like genres of music that I probably you wouldn't catch me listening to like often,
Hmm.
but there isn't one genre that I don't like revisit, you know? And yeah, I mean, when EDM was happening, I wasn't even like, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Totally.
and you know, I was like, what is a rave, dude?
Yeah.
But
You have to have a certain experience with that music
yeah,
to
and I do get that. I do get that. And I have been to EDC. Very interesting
yeah.
experience for me.
The relationship
Um,
with the music changes in a certain setting, and
yeah,
you
it
start to
really that really hit me when I had friends that were into it
yeah.
a little bit later. And then I was like, oh, okay. I kind of get this now. And
Hmm.
now it's obviously just natural and like intuitive, just like any new thing becomes after a while. But yeah, I have like sometimes I wish I could like less genres. So
Hmm.
it'd probably make my my creativity a little bit more streamlined and cohesive. But
Sure.
I like what's the point of making art if I don't get to experiment, you know? So
Yeah, everything and this song is a good example of that. It becomes like a hybrid of all those things you just said, and even a little, a bit of like Danny Elfman music scores and stuff like that, and it really shows, in my opinion, my humble. I mean, what do I know? But even listening to the album right from the get go, and you hear it like tied down, the movement in it, the 8 bar. It seems like every 8 count is different. There's something different. There's a lot of chord and melody movement in tracks like that, and it's just. Yeah, you're that's probably what's happening is you're hearing the movement in all these other songs, and
I appreciate that, man.
yeah, it's really great. It's not like you did a copy paste for 8 bar for 3.5 minutes.
Only on the drums.
Well, right. Well, that's fair.
I hate producing drums. It's my least favorite thing.
Yeah, there's so
It
much you
really
can do
is.
there.
I tell
Yeah.
everybody that I'm like, can you just fix the drums on this? I don't want to do it. Like, it's
Yeah,
the hardest thing for me to mix. It's like it's just so like
right. Yeah,
I'll write it, like I'll compose it, but I don't want to like produce it.
right. Yeah, and drums is such a passionate instrument. Just let the person who's passionate about it do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So listen, you've been gracious with your time. I don't want to suck up too much, but when as we press play onto this song for the people who are going to hear Infinity for the first time on My FM all across Los Angeles and Orange County, what is there anything in the song that you wish that everybody in the car would just be quiet and listen to this part specifically, like a hook, uh, a lyric, or something about the song that you really love that maybe people don't notice on initial listen?
Um, hey man, close your eyes and embrace whatever part you want, as long as you're not driving. Actually, maybe not close your eyes for that, but